If you want to get rich in this country, you just help make people lazier. If you make things more convenient, people will pay for it. The easier this shadow company makes it, the more likely people are to use it and even overpay, because they don't have to go through the process of 30 days of this and that and 10 days of this and 40 days for that. Now, remember, this is not a conspiracy theory. This was actually done. Oh my God, this is going to get turned into a YouTube video and I'm going to get fucking whatever. All right. This was actually done by Amazon. Successfully done by Amazon. Okay? I'm going to tell you how this was done by Amazon and why this is not crazy. Now, Zillow and Redfin both responded to this video and said that this guy is crazy. But Amazon did this. Okay? Amazon, big ol' Amazon, became a broker and a middleman for purchases. So what happened is a lot of small mom and pop stores and, you know, American, Asian, European, whatever, were directed if a user wanted to pick up a, I don't know, let's say they wanted to pick up a jackrabbit, right? Never mind. Not pets. Let's think of something else. Let's say you wanted to pick up, let's say you have a dog and you want to pick up a pooper scooper. All right? Pooper scooper. The ladies in here knew what I was talking about. And you type in pooper scooper. Amazon would then give you a list of all of the companies that provided one. And you could filter it out by best rating, by, best quality, shipping, cheapest, most expensive. It didn't matter. And then Amazon would ship it to you. And they made their money because you had Prime or whatever, delivery fees, service fees, the whole 9 yards. And now they did this for other products as well. And they did it for diapers. And they did it for baby clothes. And they did it for houseplants. And they did this. But the entire time, what they were doing is they were collecting data. They were collecting data. And they were finding out which customers bought which products the most, which products had the most engagement, seasonality, price people were willing to pay for it. Did they search by cheapest, best quality? Which ones were the happy middle, the Goldilocks of each product? And they collected all that data. And what did they do? They took those most requested, most bought, most trafficked, most, wanted items and started
Welcome Phil _the _thrill 78
making their own. Whether it was an Amazon product or a subsidiary company that was owned by Amazon. And what did that do? That killed these small businesses. And the ones that did stay in line, they just undercut them. They're willing to take a loss to cut competition, because once you cut competition, you can then raise the price and no one can challenge you. And so now Amazon became the supplier. So it's not a conspiracy theory. We've seen Walmart do that. Walmart will move into a city, into a town, and they will sell products that little mom and pop stores sell cheaper than them and take a loss. They will take a loss because they know they can survive that loss longer than the small mom and pop company. And then when the mom and pop company goes out of business, then now Walmart can jack up the price and you can't go anywhere else to buy it. And now you only have one company. Walmart is considered the small business killer in almost every small town in America. Now, how does this play into real estate? So what this guy is basically saying is that this unknown company, we'll call it, I don't know, what's something you sleep on? A pillow. We'll call it pillow. Okay? My pillow, whatever. And pillow, no, you know what? Let's not even do that. Unnamed company, okay? All right. So what they do is, what he's saying is they'll go into a neighborhood. Now pretend that there is a subdivision here, right? You got a cul-de-sac here and you have a bunch of houses, all right? And what's happening is is there's this huge demand for houses right now. We literally looked at the data this morning, and housing prices are skyrocketing all over the place. And a lot of people are looking to move out of the city, right? Because here's the big city, and you know there's lots of traffic and pollution and small living spaces, and people are working from home now. So they want a bigger place, and they want to get out of the city. So everybody in this city is searching for homes in this subdivision. And they use this company's website. Well, while they're using this website, they put in filters, how much they're willing to spend, what they kind of want. And this website, this company is collecting all that data and now knows who is looking where, how much they're willing to pay, what they're looking for. And if that's the case, this company could now go in and buy these houses cash right off the front and now own that whole neighborhood. And they may pay for less than it's actually worth because they don't have to go through the process that these people do. They don't have to go through the waiting period. They don't have to get a loan. They don't have to pay the realtor fee. They don't have to pay they just come in and just pay cash. So now they own all these homes. And they paid less for them. So it actually drove the prices down. But what they can then do, and what this guy's saying is if they paid $300,000 for all these houses, then the average price for a house in this area is $300,000. But if they also come in and buy the last house on the left for $340,000 because, you know, they overpaid for it. They purposely overpaid this guy for it. They said, hey, we'll give you $340,000 for your $300,000 house. The guy's like, fuck yeah, I'll take it. Well, now this goes into the comp set. What is the comp set? When you are a realtor or when you're in real estate, you're looking at what like houses have recently sold for. And the most recent houses that are similar are what trying to generate the prices of those homes. So now, because the latest home in that neighborhood went for $340,000, that raises the value of all of these houses. And they know based on the data of everyone searching through their site of this house that people have demand in this neighborhood. They want to live in this neighborhood. They're willing to pay between $300,000 and $400,000. So now they now own this. So now the price of these could all go up to maybe not the $340,000 this one up to, but even if these go up to $320,000, that's $20,000 profit per house. And then what he says about remodeling is, let's say they go in and they spend $10,000 to remodel by just new carpet, new paint, new tile, whatever, in all these houses. Well, based on the comp set of this house, and now this house going up to $320,000 plus the addition from the renovations, now it's $350,000. And because they have all that data, they know that this is in demand and they know who they could get there. And guess what? They can target those individuals. They can get them in. And if they are able to get big enough, based on what this gentleman is saying, what will happen is they get to skip the contracts through the state. They can go through all that. They can send out their own appraisers. And if you're working directly with the company that owns it, they hire the appraisers who can then come out and appraise it higher or lower. I'm not saying that there's any corruption there. I'm saying, but this is where it's at. You're utilizing this because it's all about what? It's all about what? Convenience. In America especially, if you want to get rich in this country, you just help make people lazier. Why do you think people pay 75 cents a day for my morning call? It's not that much money, but it's still $20 a month. Why do you think people pay? Because they don't want to do the research. They don't want to go search all that stuff. They want to sleep in. They want someone else to do it for you. Now, I should charge $100 a month if I want to get rich, but that's not the point. Regardless, forget about me. I'm just a small potato. I'm just a guy providing a service. But think about anything in this world. If you make things more convenient, people will pay for it. Or at least they'll utilize it. And so, the easier this shadow company makes it, the more likely people are to use it and even overpay. Because they don't have to go through the process of 30 days of this and that and 10 days of this and 40 days for that. So that is what this guy is talking about. That is what this guy is talking about. He's talking about the ability for them to collect the data, to go in and buy this, and then make a shitload of property. And not even just about buying and selling the property. There's speculation out there, and I'm not going to say those companies either, of companies that are doing the same with rental properties. And think about this too. If they own all the homes in certain areas, it's a monopoly. There's no competition. If there's no competition, you want to move into this neighborhood, this turns into some Stepford Wives shit, okay? Now, there are certain companies out there that are potentially doing the same thing with rental properties. Houses, buy a house, get it for cheaper than the market because you're making it easier for people and people like convenience. Take the money you save, remodel it into a duplex, boom. 2 rental properties for forever. Do that with apartment buildings that you're about to get shit cheap because so many people are going to default on. That's where the next big thing is. Is especially in urban or right outside urban areas, there are so many private investors that own apartment buildings, whether it's duplexes, whether it's quad apartment buildings or even bigger ones that are owned that nobody paid rent on, that are going to get evicted, and then those owners are going to have to default on those because they owe the bank the back pay. The bank's going to have it, and now these companies can work together to purchase that up at pennies on the dollar. Well, maybe not pennies on the dollar, but a discounted price, and then turn that into forever rental homes. And then if you buy up enough of those in a certain area, you control the market. Obviously, it depends on where you live. Some places people got their rental assistance or continued working or had their federal unemployment benefits and paid their rent. But there's a lot of places, upwards of 11 million people right now who are back or owe money on their rent. So, with all of that being said, this is where the concern is coming from. Now, I can give you guys the actual statement, okay? Zillow said, and quote, "The internet has empowered millions of consumers with more information, transparency, and tools in real estate to help them make smarter real estate decisions, many provided by Zillow for more than a decade. Unfortunately, the internet can also sometimes be a source of misinformation and falsehoods, as is this case." Redfin added that the company doesn't, quote, "have the share to manipulate the market, nor do we have any desire to, because intentionally overpaying for homes would be a terrible business model." Now that we have talked about what is potentially right about this video, let's also talk about what is potentially wrong about this video. Because I'm not going to give you guys a one-sided conversation. What is potentially wrong about this video? Well, first of all, this is nothing new. Companies have been trying to do this for a very, very long time. Sometimes they get away with it, sometimes they don't. This happened with farmlands back in the 50s and 60s, where we saw corporations going in and buying up large plots of land and then leasing them out at force to people and also selling them overpriced. The issue is that if they do it at a large enough scale, they'll collapse on themselves. Because what will happen is they will have market share in certain areas, but they don't have enough capital to buy all the houses. So what ends up happening is that if there is a housing crisis, there is a pullback, or there is any type of splurge in home purchasing that's not from them, it could actually cause them to collapse. That's number one. Number two, there's a lot of realtors out there, and everybody in Miami has a fucking realtor license. So at some point, the government would step in because there would be too many fucking jobs being lost, okay? Unless Zillow just hires all of them or something. Number three, the amount of capital this would take and the time to do it during the top of the housing crisis right now wouldn't make any sense at a large scale. Maybe at a small scale, but a large scale it wouldn't. Now, if the housing bubble burst, then it would be beneficial to them because they have the cash on hand. We all know that Zillow's been putting cash away. We saw their reports. They've got a shitload of free capital flowing right now. So if there is a housing bubble burst, then it would make sense because then you're going in and using all that capital you made during the pop, all the people driving the ad revenue, all of the user engagement, all of the share price, all the buybacks, all everything. You're using all that capital at the bottom to buy up and then ride that shit up. Then yes. But doing it right now wouldn't make sense from a business standpoint unless you were doing rental properties. That would make sense now because a lot of these people are going to lose their place and they're going to have to go into renting. So while this guy makes a lot of good points and there is some of this going on, I think the internet's insatiable appetite for the next big conspiracy to take everybody down might be a little premature right now. Now, don't get me wrong. Urban, especially mid-sized cities, the renting takeover is gonna happen for sure. Because at some point this is gonna come back, and these apartments are gonna go up big time. Now that depends on if people start moving back into the cities or not. But so many people moved out of the cities that it caused a large decrease in not only rent but also tenants, and then that could lead to more defaulting for private owners unless they get the PPP that can hold them or whatnot. So there's a lot going on here, but I just wanted to explain to you what that guy said, the truths to it, but also some of the reasons why it's not as cut and dry as it seems. Okay? It's just too much right there. Okay? There's not enough money in each home to be made, especially at these valuations, for this to be a sustainable business model. Okay? All right, 5 minutes till Powell talks. So all in BlackRock and Zillow, all in KKR, sir. That's where the money is.